What's going on, everyone? Hit pause here, back with another cool thing for AI, and there's actually something I need to do to this, and I'll do it on camera. What I've actually done on these guys is not only when I randomize their appearance, okay, so the randomizing of their appearance is doing two things, was always doing, well, actually three things, but two things in terms of their look. Number one being their primary color and their secondary color. So they have two different colors, and they're also picking a random pattern. Okay, there's basically three patterns for the two different colors, and so I have a kind of a, it's not really that complex, but basically I have a primary secondary color, but the pattern parameter is going to feed into an if statement to determine whether or not we're using the red, green, or blue channel, and we do that based on between 0 and 1. So the other thing I'm doing is I am modifying their size, right? Basically creating a random, they can go from half size to full size. Now what I've just added is the ability to change their mass based on the size modifier. So if they're half size, they'll be half mass. I was hoping this would help me have a bigger one, push a little one out of the way. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm speeding them up based on their size, but I'm doing it in reverse. I want the smaller ones to be faster, so I'm basically kind of normalizing this based on the max value being divided. So if the size is 1, basically, then he's full size. 1 divided by 1 is 1, so his max walk speed does not change. If the size is 0.5, 1 divided by 0.5 is actually 2, so we double the walk speed, and everything in between happens. So what you'll notice, which is actually pretty cool, it works good. Just show you guys here. You'll see the little ones are scooting around, the big ones are kind of lumbering, and that's how I want it to be. So you can see the little guy, you can see how slow the big one's going. The little guy, he can go quite a bit faster. You can see this little guy here, he's trucking around pretty good. Big guy's cruising along. It is kind of hard to tell with so many of them out there, but you see how much faster this little yellow one's going than this big green one. Okay, you can see they're both moving to the same general direction, but the little ones are catching up to the big ones much quicker. Okay, so that's what I'm doing, but what I want to do is I want to make sure, so the mass pushing doesn't seem to be working all that well. I've been trying a couple of other things to get it so when they hit each other, they pick a different direction. And I'm doing that here, but I'm not doing it properly. I'm doing it here. This is a new thing that I've just added, just been trying this. So what I wanted to do was say, okay, hey, on collision with the capsule, if you collided with another spider, let's just do this one time because, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. My dog might bark again, but if it does, I'll just mute up. I need to go very soon. So what we do is, the reason that I'm doing a do once here is because once they collide, this absolutely spams. This is like, just fills up the log queue like instantaneously as soon as they come into contact with each other. It's not just a single bump. They actually get stuck together, and this keeps firing permanently until that happens. So I want to do this just once. And what I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, I'm error correcting right now. I want to get my right vector. I want to move to that. I want to move 150 units to my right. On success or fail, regardless, I want to wait 0.2 seconds. I want to tell you I'm not error correcting anymore, and then I want to go ahead and I want to reset this do once. But this doesn't work. They get stuck side by side, pushing into each other. So something around here isn't correct. This should be okay, but what I may want to actually do, oh, I see what I'm doing. I'm doing this wrong. I want to get my own right vector. Yeah, I'm dumb. I accidentally hooked this up, so I'm getting the right vector of the other guy and trying to move myself to his right vector. That's not correct for sure. But I don't think that's going to solve the problem. I may need to get the actor's rotation first. Yeah. And get the right vector off of that instead. And the destination, because that was just going to be in world space, so that's not correct either. I didn't fill this out enough. The destination needs to be added here, basically. So that should be telling him to move to his right. Now I've told the blackboard is error correcting because in my wander I don't do anything if I'm error correcting. Okay, is error correcting. So if I look at my blackboard here, is error correcting is right there. So that's to tell the blackboard stuff not from the behavior tree. If you're not in the behavior tree, because right now I'm not in the behavior tree, I'm in the character himself. I need to get my player controller here, which I already have from init. I set the spider PC here. Okay, so on event possessed, I get the controller from the possession, and I set that to be the spider PC. So the spider player controller is that right there. So that's how I can pick up the blackboard here, and that should be correct because the spider controller will get sent the blackboard value from the spawner. So I think that's correct, but this is not actually what I was actually wanting to do in this video, but it's good to clean that up anyway. I don't know if that's going to work. I'm not going to test it yet because, like I said, I'm going to end up going down that rabbit hole trying to fix that. What I want to do is I want to run their animations based on their speed. I want to speed up the animations. So I got their anim blueprint here. I got a move blend. I've got a attack blend here for a default slot so they can run their attacks. They don't have an upper body per se because I really didn't give them like a spine. Now if I was smarter about how I did this, I would basically, because they all kind of come from the same body bone, all of these leg bones are all linked to the same thing. So if I wanted to just run an animation on, say, the front 2 legs, I wouldn't be able to do that unless I broke the spine up into 1, 2, 3, 4 bones, and I could say, hey, spine 2 and forward would be these 3 legs on both sides forward, spine 3 and forward, spine 4 and forward, right? Then I would be able to have the rear legs keep running while the front legs, say, spring up into that crazy spider attack pose, you know, when their spiders are freaking pissed, right? They rear up. But so what I really want to do here is I have their speed. I'm reading their speed, and I get that from the event graph here. This is your typical method, right? You get the velocity and the length. Let me get the speed off of that. So that's they really don't have a whole lot of stuff. They do a rep notify for if they run an attack animation, they do damage enemy. I really need to make sure that I need to run an extra check on this because right now if they start the animation and you run away really far away, it'll still hit you and it's a melee attack, so that's not good. This just tells a projectile to spawn at some point in the ranged animation fire point. So that's all that's doing. But I'm getting the speed here, so what I need to do is I need to drive the speed of this move blend based on their speed. And it's got a handy thing here, pin play rate. You just check that off and now we have a play rate here. Now their maximum speed, their default walk speed, is actually 150. That's the maximum speed that they can go. So at 150 they're going to be playing this animation at a 1 play rate. Now this is going to be a little bit of tuning, but what I can do is I can do a division here, and 150 divided by the speed. Now if they're going full speed we're going to get a 1, but if they're going half speed we're going to get 2. And we can speed up the play rate. But I gotta double check something really quick. How did I... On the speed... So I am setting their max walk speed, and that can actually be up to 300. The small ones are going 300. So this is backwards, because 150 divided by 300 is going to be 0.5, and that will slow down the animation. So what I need to do is, so if I do 300, and if the big guys go on 150, I'll get 2. So he'll go double speed, and then the other ones will go normal speed. How am I going to do this math? If I do it this way, if the speed is 300, then they go 1 play rate, right? And then if the speed is 150 divided by 300, I'll get half. That's correct. That's more correct. Assuming that my play rates are good on the animations at their normal speeds, which I think I dialed it in okay, this should actually work. The faster ones should animate faster. Their legs should be trumped. Okay, they're sliding quite a bit. What about the little guys? Yeah, they're sliding quite a bit. That's too slow. Definitely too slow. So what I can do is just speed up the animation to compensate. Now I might be overcomplicating this because I have a run speed that's normal. It's just kind of like their little walk speed, and then they have a run crazy. But I'm going to take the run crazy because that's the one that they're using right now, and I'm going to double that speed. And let's see if this works out. Because having slowed it down like that, I need to make sure that the default matches correctly. So let's I still feel like there's a little slide in there. Yeah, he definitely animates faster. There's a little bit of slide in there still. Hey, the bumping into each other is working. It's totally freaking working. They both go to their right. You see that? That's tits. That's awesome. That works out good. Okay, so let me keep tuning the animation. He's sliding just a little bit. Just a little bit now. Very, very, very slightly sliding along the ground. So out of curiosity, I'll just try 3 and we'll see if that seems too fast. Let me save everything here just in case I get a dump. This should work out pretty good, I think. Somewhere near here, somewhere between 2 and 3 I think is the sweet spot that I'm gonna need. Like I said, I'm gonna need to do some tweakage. should see legs stopping. There's still a hair of sliding forwards. It's still playing a little slow. It's really close. It's sliding like just barely. I can see it. It's hard to catch, you know, it's hard for your eyes to pay attention. The little guys are going way too fast. I can't tell. It feels pretty good though. They got the ball on their heads. How do you guys do that? The game mode right here. American Spider Soccer. Spider Soccer. I wonder if that would make a good mobile game. Yep, he was stuck for way too long, so he died. He's getting his head knocked in. Yeah, this pink one's a dick. He's mad because his name is Mr. Pink. Yeah, I think they're working pretty good. They're not really, I mean, they get stuck on some of the balls here and there, but I mean, I can't account for every single case like that. I can just say, hey, if you get stuck for too long, just die. Give up on life. It's better to have them die than to have them delete, too. I don't want them to just disappear. It could look like, you know, he was crushed by the... Why are you sliding? Why are you sliding? Oh, I know why. I know why. I know why. If they're moving really slow, the animation's going to be going really slow. I don't have a clamp on it. If they're being pushed, or if they're, like I said, if they're kind of sliding up against something, they'll just do that. It's pretty good though. It's pretty close enough. I mean, you don't really, I don't really feel like they're, definitely don't feel like they're sliding. They are just an absolute hair. I can see that foot drift just, I mean, it's like, it's honestly from like one of the light spot here to like about right here, about halfway through the light spot is where they're sliding to. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and slow down this check like a lot. I don't need to be able to make that decision too quickly. I don't care too much about that. It's not that important. In fact, I'll probably throw it to like 5 seconds or something. But they could immediately bump into one and then slam into the next one and get stuck for kind of a long time. So it's filling up. It's filling up over time. It just goes higher and higher and higher. It never goes down. I think it's my computer. My RAM is butt. Okay, so when they hit each other, they kind of spread out that exact distance, like they go exactly 150 away from it and then wait for the time. See how they go and they stop right next to each other? Every two that collide are doing that. They all stop at the exact same time, which feels unnatural. So, to fix that, here, to fix that, we'll do a random float in range. So anywhere from 150 to 500 units away, take that spot. And you can reset this. He can make a new decision. So they just kind of start, if they pick really high number, they should just start walking away, and then once the timer runs out, then the wander code should kick back in, and they should make a real decision. So hopefully some of them don't even actually stop. Oh, he got launched. I'm going to show you guys something pretty hilarious here in a minute too. So yeah, they kinda, he was drifting. He was like freaking Drift King for a second there. Boop, and then they go, and he goes farther away than he did. What I could do differently would be to say, it works pretty good because he bumped into him. It's working pretty good. I mean, they're pretty much scattered just about all over the place. They do bump into each other, but they're not getting really stuck on too much. They'll be able to get stuck in stuff like this. But what's weird is he should have moved to his right. See, they try it, and then for that 1 second they're not going to be able to make that decision again, so they'll push another one out of the way or something. The mass thing didn't really seem to do me much good. It really didn't seem to do me much good at all. Like a big one pushing into a little one did seem to just put them both at a stop. Like the difference in mass wasn't enough. And that's the thing. I don't know if a 100 mass thing is walking forwards and a 1 mass thing is walking forwards. If a 100 mass thing would push the 1 mass guy out of the way. I don't know if it's set up like that. In normal physics, it does work like that. But I don't know what the character movement interjects into that calculation. Because that could just be a hard value. Hey, I'm moving this way. My mass is irrelevant. Yeah, their movement feels pretty good. Their walk cycle feels pretty good. The little guys are trucking around. So here, if you guys want to see something pretty hilarious. I'm kind of scared to even try this. Just go 0.1. So there can be some really little tiny guys, but they should be like frickin' rockets. Like rockets. They probably are gonna scream through and crash through the wall. Look at him go! Look at him go! Look at him go! Come on, I need some Benny Hill music. Okay, I didn't want to sing the real Benny Hill music because then I'd have to edit the video. God, look how fast they are when they're so tiny. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's so funny. And then the big ones are slow, you know? Gee, that's like impossible to fight. I mean, there was no way you could shoot that, you know? That's ridiculous. Their spiders are that fast though. I mean, I've seen spiders that are that fast. Maybe not that fast. That's a big distance to cover, so that's a little silly. But it does work. The code works. So depending on how, you know, small I allow him to be, you know. I mean, not only is he super fast, but he's doing as much damage as the other ones too. So I should also adjust their health and damage, right? The smaller they are, the less damage they do, and the less health they have. So let's go ahead and even that back out, because that's silly. Fun, but silly. So 0.5 seems a decent range there. Now they have damage and they have health. So we can simply use this size modifier to affect all of that stuff. So let's just pull it out. There's a size modifier. And now let's get their health. And how do I want to do the size? Do I want to do it positive or negative? So the smaller they are, the size modifier. Okay, so health is simply a multiplication by the size modifier, because the full size one, who is at 1, will just be full health, and the half size one will be at half health. So now we can set health and the amount of damage that they do. Can be essentially the exact same thing. Okay, so damage times the size modifier and health times the size modifier. So now they're doing half damage if they're half size. They have half health if they're half size. They walk twice as fast if they're half size, because I do this here. Remember, you want to base this on if you want to invert it, you want to base it on the maximum value being divided by the minimum value. If you want to increase it, you do it the opposite way. And in fact, it's actually easier just to multiply it. So that should be good for their health and damage. So the little guys, yeah, they'll because they start with 30 health. That's the thing, right? And which means my bullets do 10 damage, but if my bullets hit their head, it does 10 times that, so it does 100 damage. So if the creature has more than 100 health, it'll survive a headshot, right? But that should be in the case of like a boss or something that has like 50,000 health, you know, or 5,000 health. So you got to hit it 50 times in the head, kind of thing. If it's a big boss, it's supposed to take a long time. It depends on the kind of boss battles. So a lot of boss battles are puzzles. They're not actually supposed to be fights. There's like a fight phase and a puzzle phase. You know, you do a certain amount of damage. Once you get them to a certain point, then you got to lead them over to this big spike that drops down and crushes them, you know. That they tend to conveniently include in their own layers. Let me think. What would make a good addition to this house? I know. I have an idea. Let's put something in the house that if somebody wanted to come in here and fight us, they could use it to kill us, and us only. Let me do that, because that makes sense, that I would live in a place and build something that will kill me very conveniently should you need to kill me. So that's good. I don't really know what else I can do. I mean, I got the animations working properly, and again, that was pretty simple. Again, you can expose the play rate, which is really handy. You can expose whether or not it's looped, and you can expose the blend space for it. As pin blend space, spider move blend. Oh, you can actually swap this in code. Okay, I gotta go. Thanks for watching.